I was around a lot of people who would keep telling me all these stories of going out to their sit spot and seeing like hawks and foxes and all this stuff, and I'd been going for a while and not really like hearing that, but I also was hearing from them that they'd be going every day, and I was like, well, what would happen if I just went and got up early every day? And so I started doing that for a few days because I really wanted to see some things. And each time when I would go down, there'd be all these chipmunks that would start alarming, like chip, 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 chip. And I'd always like set them off, and like I'd hear the deer off in the distance run away. And I was like, I wouldn't get to see the deer, and it would just be these chipmunks that were alarming as I'd go down. And so I started practicing routines of just going really slowly and trying to listen, and I'd notice like where their homes were, and so I'd slowly walk around them and try and like send them smiles and love and just like try not to agitate them so much. And so I started doing that for a few days, and I finally got to the point where I'd get all the way down to my spot, my sit spot, and then like after a few minutes they would just start alarming again. I was like, how could that be that like I've gone all the way down here and like I figure out like where they all live, and just as soon as I like relax and settle down, it's like they start like alarming again. I was so puzzled by this, and so I started like asking the chipmunks directly, would you guys tell me like how I can like be around you guys so I'm not freaking you guys out all the time? So one time I was down there, and I started hearing them further away, like out in the distance, chip, 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 and then closer, chip, 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 and then closer, chip, chip, chip. And I was like, what could that be? Like, is something like coming? And I just started like looking really intensely, and I didn't see anything. And then I was thinking about that later, and I was like, well, what could that have been? Like, and then I went down the next day or the day after, and the same thing happened, except this time I really just relaxed. And I tried to just sink in and just be a log and totally relax, and I even closed my eyes for a while, and then when the sound was really close I heard a rustling, and I slowly opened my eyes, and up pops a fisher and looks right at me for a few seconds, and I was just like, oh my God, and then it snuck off, and I couldn't even see it disappearing into the forest. And so I finally figured out like I was an agitator for the chipmunks, but the fisher was also, and so it's amazing to know that he's out there too.